We concluded last week with the death of Ahab, who again up to that point was one of Israel's more wicked kings that they had had up to that point in time. We know, of course, Ahab died. Despite the fact that he tried to essentially hide from the judgment of God, he still met his fate when he dies in battle, being shot by, as the Bible records, simply a random soldier with which the arrow pierces his armor, and he, of course, will subsequently died from blood loss, and as we saw in 1 Kings 22. For a brief moment, we're reminded about Jehoshaphat. Unlike Ahab, he was a relatively righteous king, was not able to remove the high places, but in all, he's one of the few righteous kings in Judah. We know, of course, that one of the things that we learned about Jehoshaphat is that he learned from his mistake where he initially where he agreed with Ahab to try to retake Ramoth-Gilead. And we know that Jehoshaphat, as part of a righteous king, recognized that he would not continue to do business, so to speak, with the son of Ahab, because the son of Ahab, as we're going to see, was not any better than Ahab himself. And that's actually how 1 Kings 22 concluded. A simple couple of verses, 3 verses to be precise, that talk about how Ahaziah, as a brief summation, was not a righteous king. Now, what 2 Kings chapter 1 does is it gives us an indication of why was Ahaziah not a righteous king, a little bit more of a detail behind it. And, of course, that this entire section fits in line with God's promise to Elijah that he is going to deal with the house of Ahab, which it won't come to a permanent end in chapter 1, as we'll see at the end. But we are in that process of where God is fulfilling that promise to, again, deal judgment to the house of Ahab for Ahab's wickedness and leading Israel to sin. And so right off the bat, 2 Kings chapter 1, we're told that Moab rebelled against Israel at the death of Ahab. Moab was a territory. The Moabites were a group of people that lived east of the Jordan River. For a while, Moab had become was subjected to the rule of Israel and Judah. And that, of course, had happened under the leadership of David and Solomon years before. One of the ways in which we know that the situation is not good in Israel in the Old Testament is whenever we see a foreign nation rebel against Israel. And that's what's happening here. This is to give us an indication that Ahaziah is not a very powerful ruler, and that, of course, is because he is not spiritually what he needs to be. Yeah.